Hey everybody, I am back after about a year traveling in 4 different countries in Asia, filming some amazing farms for you guys. Finally back on the homestead and excited to show you around. So let me take you through the garden, show you the new chickens, and then I'll tell you some of the complete disasters that happened while we were gone, and then get into some of the things that I learned on this trip. The garden this year went pretty well. We were able to get everything planted by about June. Because of when we came home, and I ended up deciding to just direct seed everything. I didn't do any transplants this year, and we did corn, Asian greens, mustard greens, strawberries, beans, potatoes, lots of cucumbers. We made pickles and kimchi, and so we had a really fun gardening season this year. The trees are looking awesome. They're so much bigger. We got fruit, we got peaches this year. I had a lot of problem with disease on my fruit trees. And I even tried making the Nujadam pesticide, but by the time I made it, and it was effective, but you know, I had a lot of this happening where things just kind of rotted on the tree. But that's okay, it's part of raising fruit trees. They're super difficult. But once you get them established and they're healthy, some die off, some make it. Basically we're at that point where the trees are about 4 years old. So next year we should have an even better crop of fruit. So now here's the first disaster that we came home to after our trip. So right when we got home, my friend who was helping us look after the property and look at, while the renters were here, he said, hey, the water's not working. This is about a week after the renters left. So I came home, this is our well house. We thought that maybe it was this pressure switch here. When it gets low enough in pressure, it refills. So I replaced that. There was voltage going down to the well pump, but nothing was happening, no water. So what that told us was, well, if you know what it is, it's probably that pump. There were some other things that went wrong on the property too, where it was like, this is kind of strange. So a couple of our breakers weren't working correctly. The air conditioner wasn't working correctly. Opened up the panel on the air conditioner, there was a circuit board burnt. And then on that pressure switch itself, there were some burnt parts of it. So it got me thinking, oh my gosh, maybe we got hit by lightning. Talked with a neighbor and found out, yeah, there was some giant lightning storm. So what ended up happening is lightning hit somewhere near that well house, and then that electricity traveled down the pipe and burnt up our well pump. So $2,000 later, we have water again. And that was the day we moved back into our house. So that was a pretty ridiculous thing to come home to. But hey, that's part of it. And that was just part one of the lightning disaster. About a month after we were home, another lightning storm hit. And this time it almost hit me. I was about maybe 200 feet from a lightning bolt that came down and smacked the ground. I was out weed whacking the fence line, trying to get things ready for the sheep to come home. Well, when that happened, it actually blew apart some of these high tensile wires. It actually shattered it into a million pieces. And then the energy went all the way back to the well house where I have my energizer that powers the fence, exploded that into a million pieces. So my $500 energizer evaporated, gone, and I had to buy a new one. And then I had to fix all the fence that was broken in different spots, and I ended up putting this guy on. This is so that electricity, instead of going back to the Energizer, it will go into the ground and not blow up my Energizer. So I wish I would have installed that originally, but you live and you learn. So I'm taking you down to the chickens because I want to show you those guys. And then also while we were gone, there was a bunch of gigantic storms. More trees fell in the silvopasture, smashed pieces of my fence. So that was another big project I had to do when I got back. And another thing that happened that wasn't so good when we were gone, a bunch of my chickens, basically all of them got eaten by a fox. So we let the renters, I just said, hey, you guys can have the chickens, take care of them. If they all die, it's fine. You're no responsibility. Just enjoy them. If I'm able to come back to the chickens, that's wonderful. If not, well, the if not is what happened. So what I ended up doing right when I got back was purchasing some black Astralorp chickens from the Mennonites. I was able to get these at 12 weeks old, and they've just started laying now. I highly, highly recommend the black Australorp. I think that they're arguably one of the best homesteading chickens. They'll lay around 250 eggs a year for you, and they're very hardy and just have great instincts that you want for a homestead bird. In here, this is just a, you might have seen, like, I'm into raising soldier fly and stuff like that, so that's what this disgusting bucket is. And what happens is the worms will just crawl out and then the chickens eat them. So this is just another great way to get rid of your bad produce and things like this. But yeah, as you can see, my silvopasture, I've been working on this for years. I've made videos about it as I've created it, but it is so lush and just full of food for my sheep. So as soon as I get them back over here, which is gonna happen this week, after I finally fixed everything and the guy I had him with fixed his trailer, now we're ready to get him back over here and start enjoying the sheep life again. So those are some of the big updates, what's happened on the homestead. Now, what happened, on my trip for the last year? I've been in Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, and Thailand. My wife and I were visiting family and friends in some of those countries, and then visiting farms to film. As some of you know on my channel, I've been making these tour videos ever since kind of the beginning of my channel. I wanted to show off other people's stuff, the things that they're working on, the great accomplishments that they've done, just to share more information about regenerative agriculture and how people are succeeding with this, and now all over the world. So it was really great to be able to bring you guys these videos. And one of the big takeaways for me from learning from all these different people, and I'll put a link in the description below to my playlist for all these different videos if you want to check them out. I'm really proud of these videos, worked really hard on them, and they're not easy to produce, of course. So thank you guys for subscribing and liking these videos, watching the ads, joining my membership here on YouTube. It really helped me to be able to make these videos for you guys. And it was a big gamble too. I didn't know if, will people actually watch these videos? If you just get 10,000 views on a video, you're making nothing. You gotta get at least 100,000 views to make some sort of money, to make it halfway worth it for you to spend all this time filming and editing and for me traveling. But what is cool about Asia, especially Southeast Asia, it's very cheap to live there and to do stuff. So after visiting all those different people, one of the big takeaways for me when I visit anybody's farm is just noticing the different systems that they have set up for whatever they're doing. If they're just growing food for their family and friends, or if they're trying to make a living from it, like Kajiya-san in Japan, growing for the Michelin star restaurants. Just an incredibly intricate system to do the orders, to harvest all the greens, to contact and communicate with these restaurants, all the way down to my friends in Japan, like Thomas, who's growing a market garden on a big hillside, has a pig that cleans up a bunch of his waste, makes compost for him. And then like Avika and Abi over in Thailand, who are doing everything the most regenerative and biological way possible. Every little step of the way, whether it's their rice growing, their cacao, sugarcane, whatever they're doing, they're making sure that the biology is in every step of the way as they grow those crops. So what I really took away from all the places that I visited is just how important it is to figure out what is your goal for your property or your farm. Is it profitability? Is it trying to grow things in a way that is the cleanest and healthiest way possible? So to just encourage you guys on your own garden or farm or your business or whatever it is, having the right system at the right time for the right reasons is everything. It's a matter of success or failure. So really figure out like what the context is for what you're trying to accomplish with your land. Double down on those systems that are just working so well for you. Like, a real quick example is my chicken coop over here. I have a 1 gallon waterer that I can use, but I have to refill that every couple days, or I can use a 5 gallon Bell siphon, and that's gonna last me 10 days for my chickens. And over time, I'm gonna spend a lot less time dealing with those birds because I'm saving, 10 minutes every 2 days not filling up that 1 gallon water. So just a little thing like that is an example. You can multiply that across all different avenues on your property or your business. And then one of my biggest cultural takeaways from a homesteading farming thing is that it doesn't matter where we are in the world, the people that are trying to grow their own food or be farmers, we're really all kind of the same mind. We're all doing things at least organically, if not beyond organically. We're trying to grow the best food for our families and our customers as we possibly can. So really just all these farms and growers all around the world, we're using similar ideas, similar techniques, and we're just applying them to the climate that we have, the different contexts that we have. So, I think that as I've been growing food for about 14 years now, and that's kind of like the biggest thing I've seen is that you can't say that one technique is better than the other. Most of the time, there's some times when you can say that it is. Let's say in Korea, for instance, they have a giant monsoon season, and so does Thailand. So dealing with huge amounts of water volume in your garden or on your land causes you to do things slightly differently. So like in Korea, they mound all of their garden beds for that purpose. So some people might say, it's got to be flat and it's got to be exactly like this, but no, not necessarily, depending on what's going on. So I think that the more that you can learn various techniques either around the world from different people and different climates, you can take that knowledge and then apply it to yourself. Because here in Tennessee, we get like 50, 60 inches of rain a year. So we have some really big rain events. So even for me, thinking about how do I deal with the rain in a different way, in Thailand, they have to store that rain in the ground. Whereas me, I get rain most of the year. So I don't, other than, in August, September, we can get droughts then. But for the most part, I don't need to store as much water into the ground with swales and things like this. So is a swale always a good idea? Maybe not, because of what you have going on in your climate. So those are some of my big tips for you, I guess, on what I've learned. And I'll be making some more in-depth videos going into detail more about my trip and the different farms that I visited. But go ahead and look in the description below and check out some of the videos that I made there if you haven't seen them. I just know that they'll be so valuable for you, and you'll learn a lot just from hearing these different people's experiences around the world.